Yeah, I was talking about this month, the print that you did.
Yeah, it's a monotype print I did for an exhibition. It was 2012 actually, so it's a while ago. It would have been done at my original studio in my hometown in Congleton, Cheshire. And we did that specifically for an exhibition called Macabre Maxfield, which was basically exploring the dark sides of Maxfield's history. It's part of an arts festival that happens in Maxfield every 2 years, I think it is now, called Barnaby. But yeah, that was so it's a monotype print, and it's I kind of like how it came out actually, because I do a lot of monotype prints sometimes. So it's kind of like I just worked on top of one today actually. So what I've been doing a lot is do these monotype prints. So not all the time. I mean, obviously do other methods as well, like sketching and then doodling, charcoal sketches, whatever. But with monotype, I do these monotype prints sometimes, and you get interesting results because you never know what you're going to get because you're basically drawing on the back of putting the ink on there, drawing on the back. You just get interesting results, and then you can sometimes I work into those, sometimes I just leave them as purely just a kind of graphical image. Sometimes even the smudgings can sometimes be good as well, and that helps. What I tend to do with the monotype prints is make them, and then sometimes either work on top of them if they need something additional, or this is actually a piece I'm doing for. I've got this postcard art thing in my studio, so nice. I just kind of worked on top of it because I like the initial. It was very. I mean, it kind of came out a bit wrong, but I just worked on top of it and just modified it into something else. Added some colour. It's a little bit of mixed media really, because there's a bit of pen there, there's a bit of Posca pen, a bit of oil pastel and stuff. So I like doing that a lot as well, because like doing the kind of I guess mixed media approach sometimes. I mean, primarily I'm a painter obviously, but mixing it up a bit can keep things interesting, I guess.
Still these fences.
That is a that's another older piece actually. That's from my other studios. So that was from about 2011. I did this. It's kind of my idea for that exhibition actually was, again, it was the Barnaby Festival thing. That was an exhibition called Lost and Found we did, which is using discarded materials and making them into artworks. So using those discarded materials as source materials and creating artwork. So I found this fence which I thought was good. It needs a bit of fixing actually, because one of the panels has come loose. I think I dropped it or something. But the piece is I was happy about actually. I mean, it's got a nice graphical quality, I think, and black and white is always a nice combination. I think I've done quite a lot of these. I don't know if there's anything. I think they're all kind of like packed away in a box over here, but I've got a lot of these black and white drawings I did. I'm a bit more graphical than my paint work, I guess. Kind of working as well.
Experimental.
Yeah, I haven't really experimented that much on it yet, but because this is a new thing, but I've started to try and organise different areas in the studio which have a specific purpose. You've got memory wall there. That's just like sentimental things or kind of memories. So. Like that's a sketch my mate did while we were sharing the studio together. Some pictures of me and my mates and my dad out. It's just pictures. I mean, that's more sentimental value, obviously. Some nice little some posters from some exhibitions. This is really cool actually. I really like this. This is we're at the last open studios I was at. This kid's just got this little piece of paper, just like drawing over it, and I thought that was quite cool. And left them a little message, and then I sort of do some sketches on the DLR quite a lot. So that's just a sketch from DLR, which I quite like. So do all the time when I'm on the way to work or whatever, or going anywhere in London. Some nice beer mat art there from my that's my birthday. So that's when I left my hometown.
You left on your birthday?
Well, not on my birthday, but I had like a leaving due which kind of tied in. I think I must have left in, I think it was April I left my hometown to move to London. And yeah, it's just some beer mat art there.
Yeah.
So this is a painting my mate did actually of me. It's Dave James did this painting. He's never an artist, he's at Goldsmiths, but he's studying graphic design. He did this painting of me, I think it was probably a birthday gift as well, I can't remember actually. It's nice painting, you just get it framed there. So yeah, that's a memory wall. And then experiment walls is something I'm just thinking of. It's more experimenting with mark making, making experimental marks. Obviously, getting ideas. So you could be like just sketching images, or because like I said, like I tend to work. I tend to get an image or an idea in mind, and then I think like a lot of artists will do. They'll sketch it down, very fast impression of what you're trying to do, and then you just build that up. Because generally when I paint, if I've got a painting, I'll have a general idea or at least a sketch in mind before I start working on a painting. Sometimes I don't. I mean, sometimes I will just go into a painting and the magic will happen. It will come together and it will take on a life of its own. You can be quite improvisational. It doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes it depends what level I'm at. I was in terms of like the creative zone, I guess. Because sometimes I will have a very clear idea of, some people want to express or portray, I guess. But when sometimes some of the best stuff I've done is I've just started making marks, and through that process of making marks, something's emerged. So it's kind of I try and work both with. I try not to over-plan things, but also at the same time, I don't purely rely on improvisation. It's just annoying. Because I guess because of the way I paint as well. Because I do paint, it's quite. It's not. I wouldn't say it's always textured, but I quite using thick paint most of the time in most of the paintings. And a lot of scratching into the paint surface, but then I'm kind of obsessed with this idea of mixing graphical qualities with a more textured surface as well, and that's been a recent development in the last at least 3 years.
In the sense of adding layers?
Yeah, so it's kind of multiple things, I guess. So very well on this piece, for example, you've kind of got quite thick application of paint where I've kind of just done straight from tube, and then sometimes adding 2 or 3 layers of whether it be a shade of blue or any colour, and then kind of working into it. But yeah, I mean that's why I love paint, because there is so much you can do with it. I mean, you can really. It's a nice medium to work with, definitely. It's my favourite medium still, I think, because obviously I kind of work in a lot of mediums as an artist, but paint is always, I find, probably the most, at the end of the day, it's the most fun, which might sound a bit like,
It's as simple as that, but that's not what it comes down to.
That's it. And it's most versatile as well, I think, in a lot of ways. I mean, I generally work in acrylic at the minute, which is quite fast drying, which kind of suits me as well, because I think, like I was saying, because I tend to have a mixture of a planned image but then improvised as well, having it so that I can, I don't have to wait really, really long for another layer to do something on it, so I can do one layer, leave it for a few hours or whatever, sometimes even half an hour with acrylics, and then I can immediately work on another area of the painting, kind of, and I'm not like restricted by the fact that I'm gonna have to wait like a day or two for it to dry if it's oil or something like that. But that's just my personal preference, I guess. I mean, I did kind of start off working in oils, I suppose. In the early days when I really started out, but I've kind of found it that it's more just easier to work with generally. That's what I work with. It's the newest piece, just finished now. So I did. This is kind of. I think it's kind of interesting because it demonstrates. You know what I'm saying about it's kind of a mixture of a plant process and improvised. Because initially. This started off. I didn't really have a concrete idea of what I wanted the image I wanted to create, I guess, when I started painting. But then, I guess, so I kind of there's a big splattery mark in the middle composition, which was that was made very early on, and then I've kind of built up the figures and the kind of images around that central kind of mark, I guess. But then as I started building up, a kind of rough concept came together. I mean, it's not anything grand. I think. Oh, it might be. I don't know. It's not really. But it's like the whole idea is kind of. It's only just finished, but the idea of this painting is it's called Information War. So it's kind of the idea of obviously just in visual terms of kind of all these figures, these kind of tortured figures in a like kind of because I'm starting to get a lot more influenced by technology in my work. So all the idea, kind of thinking about ideas of how technology is changing us or is having an effect on us. So it's kind of a expressionistic portrayal of that, I guess. That doesn't really sound like very sorry, but like I said, it's kind of a. It's one of them paintings where I'm still trying to figure out what it means because it's new. It's the largest piece I've done.
Yeah.
And it's still fresh, so I'm still thinking. I've only finished it, I think, last week, on Friday or Saturday.
Do you allow your paintings to rest a bit? So when you feel like you've done enough, and then.
I mean, I could do more on this, but I kind of feel like it's resolved itself for now. So I'm just gonna leave it for now. I think it's finished. I mean, maybe there's probably stuff I could add, but you know, I kind of like how it's resolved now. I think.
Is there a type of balance in which you sort of like visually look for, or just feel?
Yeah.
Just sort of like think, okay.
Balance in terms of I guess. I mean, there's a minimum balance you're gonna look for, I guess. And it is very difficult. I mean, to decide when is something actually finished. It's kind of, I think that's just an intuition that you build up. And like I said, I'm trying to verbalise it now, but I can't really verbalise it because it's almost, it's like, it's quite a difficult thing to know. You just instinctively know. It's an instinct, So I generally try and avoid overworking as well. I would probably do like any other painter, I guess, sometimes. But that's just, you get into your process and you kind of know yourself enough to know, okay, I'm just, this is kind of okay now, I think, if that makes sense. Yeah.
This this something you've always wanted to do, just to be able to work on a big piece?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been getting larger with my work for the last at least year and a half ago, I guess. So I've got these pieces which are like, it's kind of been, my work's progressively been more in the large scale format actually since I've been in London. I've also had a slightly bigger studio than I've had previously, which has helped. So I've been working generally at least 120 by 100 centimetres, quite a few 150 by 120 centimetres, and then like most recently the 2 by 2 canvas. Prior to that I was working quite a lot in, I guess, 60 by 8 centimetre and 100 by 100 centimetre. But that 120 by 100 centimetre format, which there's a load of them over there which are quite well stacked up, and those paintings, it's a nice format because it's a portrait format, and it's a nice size because it's not huge, but at the same time it's not like a smaller format, I guess. And in fact I actually feel more comfortable in a way now with a larger format because like the nature of our work is quite, the marks and I guess the painterliness it requires I feel a lot less constrained by that kind of scale. I still do works on a smaller scale. I'm doing a few things at the minute, like which are more abstract, I guess. That's like a piece of my easel, it's kind of just something I've been working on and off on. So I mean, I generally as well tend to work on several different things at once. So generally, I'll be working on, like one large piece, maybe one or two little small paintings at the same time, which I can sometimes just work on and then come back to like maybe 6 months or a year after. Yeah, it just keeps. I think it's good for. I mean, in a way, like I was saying about the experiment wall. I mean, the small paintings, in a way, are kind of experiments in themselves. Sometimes, not always, obviously, but they can sometimes work really well, I guess. Be successful.
It's alright. I forgot to switch off my phone.
It's alright, happens.
Very good. Yeah, you can get to pick it up.
Off. It's a vibration.
Yeah, that's it. That's an experiment actually, because this is I had a bit of.
It's on the wrong wall.
Yeah. So it's a new thing, so I haven't kind of got into it. I don't know. I could hang it, but yes, it's a like I said, it's an experiment again. Yes. So I had some spare canvas left over because I had some canvas which I bought, like I think it was about 120 by 100 centimetre roll. Mm-hmm. I had some left over, so I just did this piece. This is definitely one of the improvised pieces. It's called My Dark Angel, that is, and I've kind of tried to work as an experiment into create the frame, so it's actually a part of the piece as well as again, it's that mixed media approach I was thinking that I've done with it. Like Bog City fence painting. So yeah, I just kind of tried to use some of the same colours, kind of so that the frame almost becomes, and the frame's just a piece of junk that I found outside as well. In terms of like, I guess other painters have done that, like someone like Jean-Michel Basquiat kind of did that a lot in his own work, and I'm a big fan of Jean-Michel Basquiat, so in a way I'm kind of informed by that kind of willingness to experiment with presentation of your work, or not presenting it just in a standardised format, I guess.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts you outside of your comfort zone because you've got to deal with you've got another object there. In this case, around the canvas. Yeah. Well. So that's.
Do you get a lot of people referring to your work?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people will. It's generally when people see my work, they either kind of think it looks Picasso inspired, which undoubtedly it is, or Jean-Michel Basquiat. That's the other one that often people will say, it kind of reminds me of Jean-Michel Basquiat, I guess. Those influences are useful, and those influences are present. But obviously, I think I've talked about Picasso before, actually, I suppose, and he's kind of the master of the 20th century, I think, and that's kind of taken for granted. I mean, he was a revolutionary, radical artist of the 20th century. So I think his shadow kind of is cast over, not in a bad way, obviously, but he's kind of, if you're working within, I guess, the kind of aesthetic style that I work in, which is quite colourful, quite abstracted, then those comparisons are obviously going to be made. With my work, I'm trying to create my own aesthetic while still being aware of those influences, and it's difficult, but I think every painter has to deal with history, so that's just a given. Yeah.
That's right. Actually. Is there anything you don't want me to take?
No, take anything you want. It's fine. That's not too old a work. That's only a few months old. That probably just from the end of last year. It's a bit different actually because it's kind of. I try to be a bit less kind of squeeze as much into the composition. Just trying to make it a bit more. Less busy compositionally, I guess. It's one of those paintings which I'm still I still don't know quite. It's one of those, because sometimes when you're doing a series of paintings or works, you'll have one that comes up which is just very different to everything else you've done in that time frame, and that's kind of one of those. But yeah.
By looking at your paintings, can you sort of does it remind you of your state of mind at that time? Because
when
you look at things, I did so is it just visual?
Yeah, I mean, you're not always, I don't think, completely aware of the fact that your state of mind is, I think, always going to influence your work to a degree. And I think, obviously my state of mind at any time is going to have some kind of effect, whether that be negative or positive. I think everyone who's ever been an artist or a painter will experience times where you feel frustrated or you feel like you're not really kind of doing exactly what you want to be doing, or you're not pushing enough, breaking enough new ground for yourself. But I think everyone has their own ways of dealing with that, and undoubtedly, I mean, my work is. It's not explicitly personal because it's not really. My artwork I kind of see a lot of it as psychological in terms of they are like psychological landscapes in a way, but I'm not directly referring to people I know. It all comes from directly from the imagination. So the source of my art is generally it's what's going on in my head, but it's, I don't know, I've lost my train of thought now.
So he was mentioning that it's not a personal thing, but you're not narrating your life through. Like,
I'm not. No, it's not.
yeah.
It's nothing like that direct. It's. I'm more interested in just creating interesting but powerful images as opposed to, directly painting that what is around me, I guess. It's quite interesting in terms of like the development of work, because my early work was pretty much 100% abstract, I'd say, non-objective. It's been in the last year and a half that it has more figurative kind of elements, figures, things drawn from actual reality. Still abstracted, and still, you're not going to see a dude with like a yellow face and red eyes anytime soon in actual reality, but I find it, I don't know, I'm more drawn to the real, I guess, in the last year and a half. And I've been a lot more influenced by and got into the work a lot more of the kind of a lot of German artists from the 20th century, like German Expressionists, Slugger Kirk, Max Beckmann. So I kind of got into those guys a lot more in the last 2 years. Well, it's been really 3 years, I suppose.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm kind of influenced by them as well, but also, I guess, a lot of contemporary stuff as well. But it's just, I guess, the challenge is dealing with those influences in an intelligent way, or kind of a new way, which is the thing.
How are you doing for time?
Oh, I can stick around to whenever, really. There's no rush. Whew.
Did you order them through colour scheme, or is it just stacked up?
Just stacks that way. I might have done though. I haven't consciously done that. It's quite. I was actually thinking about this today. I used to use a lot more. I do use obviously a bit of black still. I use it a lot more sparingly now, whereas before. And I've also very aware of the fact I use a lot of red and pink, this kind of weird pinky colour as well, in a more recent work. So I've kind of, I do use colour conscious, and I'm kind of aware of, I guess like colour theory and stuff, but I have actually, it's changed a bit over the period of work that I've been in London, I guess. Whereas before, I guess it would have been more. So a lot has changed actually since being here. Really, the work's definitely become more figurative-ish. Not all the time. I still do purely abstract painting still, sometimes, but.
Could it be through the interaction with the other artists as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. That plus. I guess wanting to get to not necessarily meeting people halfway, but having it so that if you've got something which is recognisable, and it also helps with dealing with themes, because I'm dealing with, none of my themes are explicit and none of them are kind of, I want my work to have that air of mystery about it sometimes, because to be honest, I don't always understand what I'm doing when I'm painting something, but yeah, that's. I'm losing train of thought again. But yeah, I lost it. Disappeared. But yeah, there's a. Yeah, but I have a tendency to do that with my thinking sometimes. Go off on these tangents. So I was like, sometimes just like, oh yeah.
A few questions.
Yeah.
They're really basic ones, but sometimes they're pretty interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you find your inspiration? Well, before even, how would you define your own inspiration?
I define inspiration as those moments when you feel, you're not necessarily doing it, but when you feel that you're really getting into something deep and something real and meaningful. In terms of your own work, I mean, it might not be in the grand history of art that you're getting into something deep and meaningful, but in terms of your own development or your own, that is inspiration, isn't it? I mean, it's more about your own personal development, your work. Obviously, it could be in the bigger scheme of things, but that's not. I never really think that's for you, you as an artist to decide that. That's for some critic or something to decide that, I guess. Yeah, so that in a nutshell, that's inspiration, I guess, for me.
Like in your work.
Yeah.
Do you ever consider anything as a failure, like when you're painting?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's many. I don't really feel it as much these days. I feel a lot more confident as an artist and a painter now. I still have days though where I will paint things and I think, why am I even doing this? Like it's just, or it's I mean, it comes down to perception. I mean, sometimes I will just. I mean, it happens very rarely now, thankfully, but you will sometimes have times when you're thinking, this is just, either repetitive or I'm just doing something that's not really of worth, but thankfully those moments are pretty few and far between, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think it's just generally good to have, you have to kind of maintain confidence in what you're doing, because, it can be a struggle, especially being a painter, because it's a struggle to keep doing. You've got to keep buying new materials, you've got to support yourself, studio, blah blah blah, and all that stuff is, you have to keep strong, I think, basically.
That's true. It's perseverance.
Yeah. That's a friend did that. I had a friend visit the studio. That's, the guy did the painting, the portrait of me before. Yeah. He's an artist as well. It's a really nice. He probably still needs to come around to print that properly. I think. Yeah, I've got some lino. I haven't really touched the surface with that, but he's a lot more well versed, I guess, in the art of lino cut printing. I've only really just started experimenting with that, to be honest. But yeah, it's a print he did a while ago.
Is that another sort of like medium that you'd like to sort of like?
Yeah, I mean, I've got this here that's a lino. It's a very rough one. It's one of the first ones I did, I think. Yeah, kind of just. It's printmaking is something I'd like to dive into a bit more. I mean, obviously, I've done the very basic monotype prints and some lino cuts and stuff, but it is. But again, it's a whole art in itself using that medium. It's like it's like learning to paint or learning to draw. It's kind of got its own, especially because there's so many different forms of printmaking. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of still wanting to concentrate on painting for the time being, but I mess around with printmaking because it's just, I think it's good to experiment in different media, I guess. And you can also learn from printmaking as well, because you can apply something, or like I was saying kind of before, you can kind of have an unexpected result from a print which you can then translate into a painting. I mean, so yeah.